Yep. But we are going to be jumping into game number 2 on Orbital Shipyard, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Terran player from Elevate Gaming. Give it up for MaSa, sitting up 1-0.
Well-played game from him, so cheeky. And spawning up here in the top right position of Orbital Shipyard, the red Protoss player from the team on fire. It is Neeb.
And of course, these two players have played against each other a good bit in the past, and we do have a couple of statistics on them. Of course, Neeb, as we saw, and you have to remember these games are from this tournament are included in this. Neeb sitting at a 30% win rate versus MaSa.
Yeah, MaSa maybe. Well, we've talked about it, how good he is at the mind games. Oh wow, that's supply depot actually getting very low.
Oh, gets canceled.
Oh wow,
that was actually really close. But the probe does get in. That's a really big deal because MaSa did kind of, you have to cuddle a few corners to get that supply depot down as early as it was. And, of course, not seeing that there is any gas, suddenly Neeb can cut some corners himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Might be thinking that MaSa was at least originally planning to go for a fast third CC, as he did in their first round-robin game. But now that Neeb scouted that, MaSa might have to do something else. Some nice probe harassment actually coming down on that SCV. Is going to get the probe. Can it scout? Oh, nope. I think it did scout the second barracks there.
Yeah, it should have been able to see it at the last second.
Yes.
Yep, did end up seeing it.
Didn't see that third racks go down before gas, but still seeing that second racks is a nice tell. We do see the Adept getting thrown out from Neeb.
Yep. Adept being made for Neeb and saying, you know what, I can get up my expansion. I can kind of just play to my heart's content in terms of a macro-oriented style or teching or whatever he would like to do, because really he doesn't have to worry about the big Reaper. And that's usually the big scare for a lot of pro players. You want to keep that Adept or the Mothership Core, get it out quickly, get out the Stalker to make sure you don't take too much damage to any sort of Reaper harassment. But in this game, when you know your opponent's going gasless, suddenly all kinds of opportunities are open for just playing a little bit greedier.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised that Neeb didn't send his Adept across the map to scout, knowing that there was no Reaper. He was actually looking for that SCV. Should be canceling the no, actually letting the Shade finish, and it works out to block the juke from MaSa, able to pick off that SCV. Didn't even see if Neeb went for some crazy third Nexus.
Yeah, of course, MaSa, seeing that there are Adepts out, does actually end up pulling back all of these Marines. I am actually a little bit surprised. He does actually send one Marine up to that third expansion, just getting an idea of what's going on. But of course, MaSa is adding on additional barracks and actually has those tech labs finished up and is really going to be looking to go for a very biocentric force early on.
Yeah, this is a bit of an older, maybe Heart of the Swarm play where you'd go for that 3 racks after expand and try and hit maybe a stim timing, some sort of large bio pre-medevac timing. It was very dependent back in the day on draining Mothership Core energy originally, and then you try and run in, kill some probes. But now we don't see it very often with just the way the matchup plays out these days.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting how it plays out, just because, you get up a very early stim now, but your medevacs are still very, very delayed. So if you can't get that damage done on the other side, MaSa, an Eye of a Hawk, manages to scout this Observer, immediately takes it out, and that's going to be frustrating for Neeb because he's making his disruptors. He's actually got out a Warp Prism and going for a bit of a Puck-style Disruptor Warp Prism drop, and he's not going to want to have to waste time on his robot facility making more Observers. He's really relying on Disruptors for the defense.
Yeah, and I do believe, though, that Neeb was able to scout the second and maybe third racks. At the very least, he saw Stim starting up, which will allow him to prepare for some kind of bio push. As a result, he threw down that second and third gateway before the Twilight Council and the Forge, and even the third Nexus. So going to be able to get a little bit more production to deal with this attack. So nice scout, even though the Observer did go down. It kind of did its job.
Oh, actually, I'm not sure if Neeb is aware of how aggressive this push is going to be, because he takes both of his Disruptors in the Warp Prism and sends them both across the map. He needs those Disruptors to actually defend against this. He really doesn't have a whole lot. He's going to try and take a third expansion as well behind this. Is normally what you try and do. Scan goes down, and there is a sentry, so he can just cancel this third. force sealed the ramp, and he should be okay, but he needs to make sure he's on point about this.
Yeah, he does. There's stim, combat shields, and +1 attack.
Oh, Disruptors also firing off their shots in the natural expansion, killing off 3 workers, and the Marines making up the ramp because Neeb is busy microing his Disruptors.
Yeah, that was actually such a big deal. MaSa getting such a good timing right there as Neeb was focused on those Disruptors.
Oh man, so many workers are going to go down over here. Even the Mothership Core is going to end up falling. No Photon Overcharge is going to be available. A couple Stalkers warping in, and these Marines are stimming themselves to death, but it is absolutely worth it considering how many workers have gone down so far.
Absolutely. We see MaSa taking a big worker lead, even continuing to target down those probes until their dying breath.
Oh, and the one maybe hope that Neeb had was, you know, that he could continue to equalize with those Warp Prism, with the Warp Prism Disruptors, but he pulled it all the way back home because he wasn't sure if he should need them to actually deal with that harassment, and now he moves into the Disruptors. He's got to do some absurd amounts of damage.
Yeah, now the one thing I will say is, nice Disruptor shot there, killing 3 Marines. The one thing I will say is because Neeb has 3 Nexi and that Warp Prism with the double Disruptor, he has a lot of comeback potential. The medevacs from MaSa are very delayed. Doesn't want to delay them anymore to get out Vikings. So Neeb does have very big potential to come back in this game.
Yeah, it's still very, very much possible. Disruptors moving on in, going to try and deal a little bit of damage. Not finding too many openness or open shots, but trying to actually pick off the supply depot. Don't manage to get the SCV, so not going to be supply blocking MaSa anytime soon.
Yeah, I like this decision from MaSa, deciding to go for those that second turret in the natural. We do see that double medevac coming out across the map. Gonna try and do some damage against this third base, and Neeb not scouting that.
Yeah, and you have to remember, Neeb not only lost some Mothership Core, but he used up so much energy, and Disruptor shots going off, getting a little bit, but we do end up seeing the double drop coming in. There's not going to be a lot of Photon Overcharge available, and even these Immortals, the Sentry, they are going to be vulnerable targets.
Yeah, nice job picking off that Sentry with the Guardian Shield. Blink forward from Neeb, but not going to be able to take down that medevac, or those medevacs, I should say.
Yeah.
This is a very high multitask game already.
We already see the Disruptors. That SCV is juking for days, but he does get caught after the command center is completed. Third expansion going to be finished up for MaSa. Going to start mining from that almost immediately, and he is sitting down in that working count now because, as you were saying, those 3 Nexus for Neeb continuously making those workers.
Yeah, and that's the power of the Chrono Boost and the triple Nexus. Observer placement, really nice right here. Going to see this army from MaSa.
MaSa, got to be careful. Those medevacs may be a little bit vulnerable. One of them getting very, very low on health, but it is going to survive. And MaSa has actually no worries about losing medevacs right now. He has so many.
Yeah, and that's really going to help out a lot against this Blink Stalker heavy play. You really want those Marines getting healed up as long as possible.
You know, there are 2 pylons of Photon Overcharge over here, but I'm not sure if it's going to work out super well for Neeb because these pylons are going to go down very quickly. Mothership Core also goes down, and the army is already starting to get some damage done on the worker line again.
Yeah, target firing down those Stalkers as they warp in, doing a lot of damage.
Well, Sentry gets picked off. The Immortal under fire. It is going to go down as well. And even though MaSa may end up losing all the units in this drop, he has already done a substantial amount of damage. And he's also even trying to push out the front. Doesn't quite find the opportunity as there is a couple of Stalkers and another Immortal over there. But MaSa is also buying himself a lot of time. The Disruptors going to be coming in from the backside over there. Going to kill off a couple of... Oh, no. Not actually killing off the Marines. It does end up forcing a pickup. And the Disruptors are also very low on health.
Yeah, got to be so careful with those Disruptors. Wants to keep them alive and keep MaSa occupied on his side of the map. Yeah, if we look at the game, though, we do see +2 weapons coming out from Neeb, as well as that resonating glaives on the way, while 2-2 has just started for MaSa.
Awkward passing of the ships as the Warp Prism retreats home, and so do those medevacs, those empty medevacs. But
ooh, there is that drop on the right side of the map that MaSa is going to try and use to pick off this Warp Prism.
He's going to try and flank it. Not going to be able to do so, though. The medevacs...
Oh, they killed each other.
Oh.
I didn't know that was possible.
Apparently.
I thought when you killed it, it automatically canceled the Purification Nova, but apparently it can still proc.
You know, one of those Marauder shots might have actually still been in the air.
That's a good point, yeah.
But
wow, that is, you never see that. That is so cool.
Yeah, but the Warp Prism going to be coming back in at the same time. An engagement in the center of the map. Let's see where the micro is. Not on the Sentry in the Adepts.
A lot of damage on those Adepts.
Yeah. That actually, whoa, MaSa feeling very, very confident. Actually trying to maybe, I was going to say bait him into a Widowmine shot, but not going to be the case. It's on cooldown, and MaSa definitely got to back up. Oh, finds an opportunity where he could have actually sniped off that Warp Prism or gotten some good damage on it, but got to just be careful now.
Yeah, going to be throwing down those Liberation Zones. Good decision. Yeah, just got to stay within those. Be careful. This is really going to slow down the push of Neeb, but Neeb looks like he wants to get really aggressive.
Yeah, going for a bit of a concave over here. Liberators get Blunk under, going to be able to snipe off both of them. And now we end up seeing, of course, the Adepts taking a lot of those shots for those Marines, those Marauders. Good Widowmine shot going off, but the Liberator count is depleting, as is the Stalker count, kind of weirdly enough.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty close attack, but Neeb, I don't think he has much punch behind this. I think he really wants to end the game with this push.
You know, it's sort of a weird situation. He doesn't have any more disruptors on the way. He's trying to remake that Warp Prism. He's trying to go back in, but as you were saying, last Liberator does get picked off over here, and these Immortals doing a lot of damage to those Marauders.
Yeah, a bit of an uncomfortable blink forward from Neeb, kind of overcommitting.
You know, the Stalkers are really there, I think, in this situation to try and deal with the Liberators, so maybe it ends up being okay that, oh god, that Immortal is being so valuable right now whenever he attacks any of those Marauders. But these Adept Warpins, they have to be so careful because he knows that there are those Widowmines there, but he can't really go into them.
No, he definitely can't. He needs to cancel those shades. Okay, actually splitting the shades. Really nice.
Yeah, avoid the Widowmines entirely. That's one way to deal with it, but he's going to be losing all of these Adepts. Adepts do not match up against the Marauders very well. And
army supply is going down so much for Neeb, and MaSa is actually up 25 army supply. That Warp Prism is coming across the map, but it's just Blink Stalker Adept. And against Stimmed Bio with Medivacs, that's just not the greatest composition. Is going to go for a Blink on this fourth.
Yeah, this command center really getting ahead of itself. And actually we end up seeing Neeb and maybe wasting a couple shots on the Medivac instead of going after the command center. I feel like he maybe could have gotten that command center if he had just gone for it. But the Warp Prism getting target fire down. Some of the Warp Pins are canceled, not all of them though.
Yeah, I think that's actually really good for MaSa. This army is quite trapped, and I don't think it's getting out of here alive. It's just going to be about how much damage it can do.
Adept's going to try and move in from the backside. There are some Widowmines over there. As soon as those Adepts finish up, those Widowmine shots were going to go off, but he does cancel them. He's trying to engage away from those Liberators. He's actually getting a pretty decent engagement, all things considered, how trapped he seemed to feel.
Yeah, we do see the 2-2 is finished for MaSa, and it's allowing him to trade much more efficiently. Nice job with the Adepts, gonna phase out the rest of them, and he does escape with some of that army, but looking at the army supply, he is down now 42 army supply. That is a really tough position. No third base on the way, no splash damage to speak of.
Yeah, wasn't making any more disruptors because he keeps losing those Warp Prisms, and he keeps having to remake them, and because of that, he never has the time on the robotics facility to remake any disruptors.
Yeah, exactly. As nice as it is to have those speed Warp Prisms, when you don't have any disruptors, you're kind of in a rough position.
Yeah, gonna try and make the Adept damage happen instead, and there is a potential for this to work out. There are a couple of missile turrets around, but even Liberator is gonna be catching this Warp Prism a little bit off guard as Adept's being dropped, but no, MaSa is prepared for it. He has units in the main base as well as moving across the map.
That is a nice bit of positioning there from MaSa. That Speed Warp Prism definitely going to be able to outrun those Liberators, but still, I don't think it can do the damage that Neeb needs. Meanwhile, wow, some nice damage from those Widowmines. 3 probes each.
Yeah, and we have MaSa pushing in at the front with these Liberators, with the Marines and Marauders. Force field going down. I think that Neeb may have enough to defend over here, but once the rest of the army gets here from MaSa, it's going to be a whole different situation. A lot of these Warp Gates also depowered in the main base thanks to those Marauders.
Yeah, and a big blink forward from Neeb on top of the Liberators. Going to take them down, but those Marauders are actually, they're turning toss to goo.
Wow, they are actually doing a pretty good job, but...
big overcommitment from MaSa right there.
Yeah, MaSa is, he's starting to get a little bit overcommitted because you have to remember, he was only fighting with about half of his army. The rest of the army starts to get over here, but that is going to be enough. GG gets called, and MaSa taking game number 2 as well.
GG, well played by MaSa. A little bit of just a micro overcommitment there, target firing that one stalker at the end. But besides that, really, really, really nice play from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And just... I would say, first of all, dealing with all the Warp Prism harassment and everything going on at the same time, very, very solid. But I also want to say, it was a really, really cool to just see that kind of weird, intricate timing where MaSa tries to charge up the ramp at the exact moment that Neeb is trying to do the disruptor drop. And it just goes to show you how micro-intensive both of those things are.
Yeah, that was That did just so much damage from MaSa. I think if Neeb can have that game back, he
gets the force field down.
He gets the force field 9 out of 10 times, and
that game is very different in that situation.
That was the 10th time where he happened to be microing those disruptors, and just a little bit unlucky.
Oh, I mean, Neeb has definitely been showing he is in fact mortal, but he now has to win 3 games in a row versus MaSa.
That, or he'll be going down to the losers bracket to face Semper in another best-of-5 finals.
Yeah, players are both playing for a spot in that grand finals where they will be guaranteed a pretty decent chunk of the prize pool, $1,400 for first place, and I think it's around $500 for second place. Yeah, second place, $500.
Yeah, Scarlet coming fourth, as we can see, with 225.
Yeah, definitely not too bad.
Yeah.
Also won StarCraft 64.
Yeah.
StarCraft Brood War 64.
Yeah, that was obviously the most important tournament this weekend.
Yeah, highest skill ceilings tournament.
Yes, that I wouldn't argue with, actually. I feel as though you can never be perfect at that game, so I think you're actually completely correct about that.
Turn up the sensitivity on the analog stick so that your mouse cursor just moves 3 times as fast.
Analog deceleration.
Analog deceleration.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Got to make sure you turn that off.
Yeah.
But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be hopping into game number 3